The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Car crashes injure over 1 million of us every year because we're human. For over a decade, Waymo's been building a driver that's safer. Statistically, 10 times safer in the cities we serve. Not because humans aren't enough, but because they're everything.
Based on over a 94% reduction in serious injury or worse crash rates. Learn more at waymo.com.
Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
I think there was a semen stains.
Eavesdroppin.
Oh, hello, Michelle.
Hi. Howdy.
How to do it?
Hey, hey. Hey, hey. That's what they say in Sweden. Hey, hey.
Hey, yay. Hey, yay, 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 yay. That's usually what a dog gets told off.
Hey, hey, hey,
Put
hey.
that down.
Oh, do you know what? I say that to people on the street. I'm like, hey. Because they just run in front of my...
Pick that poo up.
I don't like it when dog owners don't pick up the poo. It's not nice.
No one likes that.
It's not nice.
It's not okay.
It's really not okay.
It's your job.
My cousin even had a bottle of water so she could wash down the area.
Wash the street.
Yes. And I thought...
That's so thoughtful, isn't it?
Good for you. You are a responsible dog owner.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about irresponsible walkers, just walkers who walk in front of my bike because they're too busy looking at their phone and they just cross the street. Don't look left, don't look right, nothing.
Bloody hell.
And I'm like, hey, hey, dinging bells, the lot. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to end up killing somebody or getting killed myself because I'll come off the bike. It's a real problem. It's not just me. There's road rage, bike rage here.
It's all happening.
In my little mountain village. Yes, indeed. And on that note, welcome to Eavesdroppin.
Oh, welcome. We love it when you come along and listen to the program, the show, the edit, the podcast. What do you want to call it? An episode, not an edit.
It's an ep. You're Geordie. I'm Michelle.
I was going to say I'm Michelle. You confused me.
Oh, you poor thing.
I'm Geordie. She's Michelle. Get that right.
I did say that. And you are listening, which makes you an eavesdropper. Welcome, welcome. We are thrilled to have you here.
So thrilled.
So thrilled because we love it that you listen. We love it that you find us. Tell your friends, please. Go and review us, rate us, all that stuff.
We love that somebody's listening. We're talking to each other, but you're allowed to listen in. Now, that's the whole kind of idea, I suppose, of eavesdropping. You get to sit on the bus with us. You're in front or behind, doesn't matter where. Or maybe you're on a plane and you're unfortunate enough to sit on the third seat in that row of 3 and we won't shut up.
Ugh.
Not only that, but we get things so wrong.
We do sometimes.
But some eavesdroppers want to join in, don't they, Michelle? They want to join in. They want to be a part of it. They love it.
Some people even write in. Have we had anything in the mailbox?
Let me just check the mail,
I think
actually.
we did have something from McCracks.
Oh, yes. McCracken, Poston Jr. He has gotten in touch. You know, we're talking about doing a podcast with McCracken Poston Jr. because he was a lot of fun. He's that guy that we talk about all the time. He's a...
Sam Neill looky-likey.
But more than that, he's an attorney.
R.I.P. Sam.
And writer of Zenith Man, the book about Alvin Ridley, a case that Michelle covered. That's how we found out about McCracken. And another one, which was the Georgia Tri-State funeral homes. You know, there's been a lot of that crematorial.
And Byron Low-Tax Looper. Let's not forget, we've done 3.
Of course, we've done all that. We're trifecta of McCracken episodes, really. So one day we are going to do that. We have other ideas of other podcast shoot-offs. So if you love it, write in with some ideas. If you love the Eavesdroppin universe and you want to see us expand it.
Yes.
Do you see what I did there? Expanding the universe. Speaking of universe, Michelle, this is gone now, and I don't know if it did happen because we're recording this during the eclipse, the solar eclipse, August 12th, right? I've given the game away now. You know, this is weeks in advance of when you're listening. But I just saw a conspiracy theory saying that at some point today, hasn't happened yet that I know of, the planet, in fact, is going to lose gravity for 12 seconds. No one knows why, but it's preparing us for something. Oh, sorry, someone does know why. NASA.
Oh, someone. NASA, that little tiny organization called NASA.
Someone knows something, and it's NASA.
Well, why are we losing gravity for 12 seconds? And what does that mean? Because
I told you.
But what does it mean? Are we going to...
I told you. No one knows.
Well, what's going to happen?
They won't tell us why. They're preparing us. Hang on. 7 seconds. 7 seconds.
7, all
NASA
right.
knows. They're preparing but won't tell us why. Let me read the comments. They usually know something. Somebody said, Creative Aquatics says, not possible. Mass creates gravity. The Earth would need to lose all its mass in order for this to happen.
Okay.
Says it like that. And then I Am Irish Dave says, does anyone believe this? And T. Robinson 017 says, can they at least tell us what time of day? I don't want to be out running or cycling when this happens, or sitting on the toilet with diarrhea. Good point.
Poo always comes into it, doesn't it?
It really
I
is.
wonder what Neil the scientist has to say about this, because he's been awfully quiet lately. I've not heard a peep from him. He's just having too much fun.
Is he okay?
I mean, he is in Riyadh.
Didn't something happen where he lives?
God knows if he's all right. I mean, he does pop a little post on the Facebook every now and again. So I guess he is alive, but he's too busy. He's too busy with all his new Riyadh friends.
I wouldn't worry too much about him. I'm sure he's listening. I'm sure he's fine just living his life. But yes, do write in, please, Neil the scientist and any other scientists. Obviously, it's a crock of shit because also on this particular site, I found another potential. Here we go.
My idea about this is there's a difference between losing gravity and losing full gravity. Maybe there is a slip in gravity and we're like, whoa, we might feel a small lurch. But I don't think it's possible to lose full gravity. Even for 7 seconds, the world would be destroyed.
As I was saying, it is a crock of shit because this particular site also hosted something that said, in the same style, big headline saying, this woman, psychic, predicts that during the World Cup final that aliens are going to come and abduct the entire stadium. Did it happen? No, it did not.
No, I mean, it could have made the final a bit more exciting.
Clickbait, fake news, whatever.
It wasn't a very exciting World Cup final, let's say that.
Wasn't there some argy-bargy? Those Argentinians were they in it?
No, it was Spain versus Argentina, and Spain absolutely outplayed Argentina. It was a joy to watch.
Argentina was slightly aggressive.
No, Argentina were a joke.
There was some aggression on the pitch, I remember now.
Oh, look, there was aggression the whole time.
Yeah, we mustn't get angry, boys. It's no fun for us to watch you fight. That's a different sport, a different spectator sport. Stay your lane.
Yeah, but there was a lot of hugging as well between opposing teams. I thought that was quite nice, and a lot of offering a hand to help them up.
A lot of people walking past those hands at the end as well. I did see that.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Anywho, who cares about sport? I don't care.
No, I don't care about that.
What do we care about sport?
Don't care.
What else has been going on for you then, Michelle?
Oh, well, the glacier's melting. The people who don't believe in climate change, please come here and have a look. You'll see. We've got no glacier left.
It's dripping.
It's crying.
Like an ice cream cone in the sky, and the hand is still there holding the ice cream cone, but the ice cream has dripped almost away.
That was a beautifully articulated metaphor, but yes.
I want to talk a little bit more about ice cream, actually. Can I just quickly segue about some ice cream that I had on holiday in the little Dorset town of Swanage? Babu, it's called. They came up onto the beach with a little boat playing the theme tune of Captain Pugwash, which is slightly inappropriate. Do you remember it? I think it's a hornpipe as well.
Yeah, okay.
Captain Pugwash was this notorious kind of weird animation. When I say animation, it was just cardboard cutouts being moved slightly by an invisible hand about pirates. It was 5 minutes long. Captain Pugwash, Seaman Staines, apparently, but I can't remember if there wasn't.
Yes.
And Roger the Cabin Boy. I'm not sure if they were real. I know there was a seaman.
I think there was a Seaman Staines, and I think the adults all thought it was a little bit ha-ha
It's
at the
a bit
time,
much.
but now it seems a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah. And Roger the Cabin Boy.
Times have changed.
Yes.
Well, yes, exactly. Yes. All right. So you had some lovely ice cream from Seaman Staines.
Yeah, I have never eaten ice cream creamier than Baboo. It's called Baboo. And then I found the shop in Swanage Town the following day and had an affogato. Oh my God. They also made a vegan ice cream, which I wished wasn't vegan because it didn't quite have that creamy. It's just, I've never had such creamy ice cream in all my life. They had a brown sugar flavour. Oh.
Oof. Sweet Baboo. Well, I will tell you, we have on the menu at the moment one of the loveliest desserts I've ever had. It is a chervil granita.
Oh, that wouldn't be something I'd order on purpose.
No one would.
No.
Except we have had people say this is the highlight of the menu. This was so unexpected, so incredible. It's a granita made with chervil, but of course they've flavoured it with a hint of green apple. And then with it, they've got, well, at one point they had cherry. Now they've got apricots because they're in season that have been infused with elderflower. And then on top, you've got a soft Italian meringue with elderflower and a crispy meringue with pine. It doesn't sound like it will work, but my God, it is so refreshing, so herbally, but also a taste of the forest. It is the most delicious thing. People are going wild about it in the restaurant.
A taste of the forest.
Taste of the forest.
As you've said it.
Yes.
Not a taste of the sea.
Not a taste of the sea. It's a taste of the forest. Yes, I probably wouldn't have ordered that if I'd seen it on a menu. But when you're on a surprise menu and you just get handed it, people try it and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know what to expect. I had a woman last night say yesterday, I literally couldn't process this because I have never tasted anything like this in my life and my brain couldn't understand the flavors. It was spectacular.
Wow.
Try something new, guys. Chervil granita.
Try something new, they say.
Yes.
Apart from folk dancing and incest. I don't know. That's not me saying that.
No,
that
just you
is
repeating
a
it.
joke that used to be told over and over at my former workplace. Yeah, I've repeated that.
Yes, you have.
Don't say that.
No.
Don't repeat what I repeat. It's not funny. It's not cool.
You two better watch out. We don't like innocents around here.
And what's been new for you? Anything?
Well, I went on holiday, as I just alluded to earlier. I went camping for a few days in Dorset, which is a beautiful part of the country here in the United Kingdom. One night I was shocked when I was awoken. My husband and I both were awoken by a very loud, low-flying, what sounded like not a helicopter. The only thing I can assume it was a Chinook or something, like a long helicopter, low-flying. We both kind of woke up and I had earplugs in. Both looked at each other and said, what was that? And eventually I went back to sleep thinking that they were transporting aliens.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of secretive military action and there are places that don't even show up on the map down in Dorset.
Right.
There's a lot of, practicing going on down there.
Interesting.
Also, I went to the best beach in the world, which is down in Shell Cove, I think it's called, by the chain ferry, which gets you across the road to Poole in Dorset. And we usually go down the end, but we went to a different entrance and found ourselves slap bang in the middle of a nudist beach, which I thought doesn't matter. No one's going to be there at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday or Tuesday. And it was thick with guys, mostly men. There's a couple of pairs of boobs, but mostly men and willies and bums.
Mostly men swinging it round.
Swinging. I was there with not just my kids, but an extra child as well. So I was thinking, this isn't so appropriate. I wouldn't mind if it was my kids. If we have a naked house, it's fine. But the fact that they were all standing up in the long grasses, kind of like hands on hips, hips thrust forward, staring out to sea.
Don't say thrust.
They were thrusting and they were staring out to sea like meerkats bobbing up all along the tall grasses, all along the shoreline. I didn't understand why. Is there some kind of, I don't know, ritual that you're supposed to do? Oh, and we found one bush that was full of condoms as well. That wasn't very nice because we were trying to walk along the bushes.
It was a dogging beach.
It
Bloody
might have
dogging
been.
beach.
We perched ourselves on the...
It's a hookup beach. It's a beat.
We perched ourselves on the border of the nudist colony. And it was lovely. Beautiful sea. Beautiful views. Apart from the dicks.
Apart from too many dicks. Okay.
Too many dicks on the beach.
Can I ask, how much hair was there? Or were they all shaved?
A lot of hair. No, there was hair galore.
Interesting.
Hair up and down for days. Hair for days. It was men. All middle-aged.
Yes,
and plus.
but all those men love an electrolysis on their chest.
Do they?
They shave all the balls, back, crack and sack. Come on.
Who does?
Everyone.
No, that's wrong. Do write in.
Yes, do write in.
Write
What
in
do I
McCracken,
know?
write in Steve
my
Bailey,
God.
write in all of our mail, write in Cal the Pal, write in and let us know, are you shaven? Is it a shaven situation for you, top to toe, as Michelle would like to think?
Well, I read something recently, actually. There was a fairly recent TV show called Love Story. It was about the Carolyn Bessette, Kennedy and
Was that any good?
JFK. I haven't watched it. Apparently, people were all over the main actress's wardrobe. They're loving it. You know, it's all J. Crew minimalism and Calvin Klein, whatever.
Well, that was the whole thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
With that girl.
They said they had a real problem casting for JFK character.
Because they were all so shaven and less hairy than he was.
Yes.
Grow it.
Yes, and he apparently was a bit of a gorilla. You know, they were thrilled to find someone who actually had chest hair, because apparently it's not a thing anymore. Write in, please. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Would you like to run your hands over stubble? Or would you like to rub your hands over fur?
Well, always fur.
Nice soft fur.
Always fur. But I
Yeah.
will say, if a dude has shaved and a lady has shaved, there's some bad friction. And I'll leave it at that.
She sounds like she knows what she's talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Jen.
Sorry, Jen. I recently was away as well. I was in the car. We were going to Liechtenstein, Bad Ragaz area.
Oh, yes, the smallest country in the world.
Is it? Is Vatican City smaller?
Apparently.
I don't know. Anyway, it's very small.
I don't know.
There's not much to it. I'll tell you that. We had the bikes with us and it was 36-degree heat. I was sweating like a bitch.
Yuck.
It was very fun. It's nice to be on the bikes. But when we weren't on the bikes, I was in the car and I heard a news piece about a woman called Nancy Guthrie on the radio.
Yes.
Have you heard?
Yes, I have. It's been going on for ages. She was kidnapped and she's the mother of a very famous news anchor in America.
Exactly. Well, strap in because I've got this story for you.
Shockers.
It really upset me.
I feel like it hasn't been resolved yet.
Well, hold your horses, Nelly.
Oh,
That's
hold
all
the
I can
horses,
say.
Nelly, already. Bloody hell.
But I was really upset to hear this on the radio because I just feel like people are so cruel. And I wanted to look into this case and where it stands as of this recording. So obviously you've heard about this, you've heard the news stories, but if you haven't, strap in because I think this is so very sad.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, on Saturday, January 31, 2026, Nancy Ellen Long Guthrie, who was 84, she had lived in the Tucson area in Arizona, in America, for more than 50 years, and she'd spent the evening having dinner with her daughter Annie's family. Like you mentioned, Nancy is the mother of a famous NBC news journalist and Today co-anchor called Savannah Guthrie. Now, Nancy lived alone in the Catalina foothills area just outside of Tucson, and according to the official timeline released by investigators, Nancy took an Uber to her daughter Annie's house at 5:32 that afternoon for dinner. And then later that evening, she was driven back to her home by her son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, and he dropped her off at around 9:48 p.m. And investigators say the garage door was closed at around 9:50 p.m., which was around the time that Tommaso left. And I think the detail here about the garage is that maybe that's how she entered her house, through the garage, and then it closed, and that's when they knew she was inside. Now, by all accounts, it seems that Nancy was a pretty active and on it 84-year-old. She was independent, she was mentally sharp, although she did have limited mobility and relied on daily medication for some kind of chronic medical condition.
Oh, no.
She was also a regular churchgoer, and the following morning, she had been expected to participate in a live stream of a church service, but she never showed up. And it was this no-show that prompted someone from her church to contact the family to kind of say, hey, can you go and check on her?
Yeah, welfare time.
Exactly, a little welfare check. And that was around 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, February the 1st. Relatives went to Nancy's house to check in on her. And when they got there, they searched the house and the property, but Nancy was nowhere to be found. And at 12:03, the family called 911 to report her missing. So when deputies from the Pima County Sheriff's Department arrived at around 12:15, Nancy's phone and other personal belongings were still inside the house. Investigators quickly realised that, something was off about this situation. And Sheriff Chris Nanos said the evidence at Nancy's house did indicate that a crime had taken place inside the home.
Oh, no.
So the house was immediately treated as a crime scene, with homicide investigators becoming involved. Now, Chris Nanos said, and this is a quote, "At this point, investigators believe she was taken from her home against her will, possibly in the middle of the night. Taken against her will includes possible kidnapping or abduction. She couldn't walk 50 yards by herself."
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he told CBS News that he believed Nancy had been abducted.
Oh, gosh.
So the initial response involved local, state and federal authorities, with search and rescue teams using police dogs and drones and aerial resources like planes to try and find any trace of Nancy. Plus, they also got assistance from the US Customs and Border Protection. But by February 2, the next day, authorities did announce that the operation had shifted from a search for a missing person into a proper criminal investigation. And at this point, investigators began examining surveillance footage, digital evidence, and neighbourhood camera systems, while also doing door knocks on nearby homes and in the surrounding area. Forensic evidence from the house at this point became a super important part of the investigation because bloodstains were found right near the entrance of the house, and subsequent testing did show that, unfortunately, the blood did belong to Nancy.
Oh, no.
So media footage from outside the house appeared to show what looked like a trail of blood near the front door, although officials did not reveal the amount of blood or speculate about exactly what Nancy's injuries might have been.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. It's so awful. And investigators also noted that personal items had been left behind and that Nancy's doorbell security camera had been removed.
Wiped. Oh.
Removed, yeah. So authorities described the conditions inside the house as, quote, very concerning and inconsistent with someone voluntarily leaving. So then investigators found something on the doorbell camera footage itself. So I think the doorbell had been removed, but they'd kind of fucked up and left some way to access that footage. So on February 10, the FBI director, Kash Patel, released 4 black and white images showing a masked and armed person outside Nancy's house masked and armed. It's awful.
Oh, my God.
And the person was wearing gloves. They were carrying a backpack. And, like I said, it looked like they had a gun.
Jesus.
I know.
For a little old lady.
I know. It's just so awful. The investigators could see that this person had tried to knock the video doorbell off the wall with light taps. And then when that did not work, they covered the lens with a leaf from a potted plant. But despite all of those actions, data from the device was recovered and gave investigators a proper insight into what went down that night. So later that day, the FBI released 2 videos captured by the doorbell camera, and on February 12th, authorities provided further information about the person seen in the footage. So investigators estimated that the man's height, they pretty much figured that it was a man. They said that he was between 5'9" and 5'10", with an average build and a black moustache. And they managed to identify the backpack in the footage as a 25-litre Ozark Trail hiker backpack. And the FBI later said it was working to get other footage from other doorbell cameras in the area. And on February 18, Google also announced that they were attempting to get more material from home security systems.
And satellites?
I don't actually know what that means.
Well, it's probably satellites. Google has satellites that are trained on almost every address in the world.
Yeah, well, I guess that's potentially what they mean. I mean, I guess because this is also quite a high-profile case because of Savannah Guthrie.
They're throwing everything at it.
They are. Plus, Geordie, there were ransom notes. And this is what is kind of a little bit my theme today,
right.
Ransom notes. Although authorities were initially cautious about whether any of the notes were actually genuine, on February 2, KOLD TV, which apparently is a CBS affiliate in Tucson, they received a letter demanding payment for Nancy's release.
Oh.
So investigators got a hold of this and shared it with the FBI, but no one could really confirm if it had come from actual kidnappers who did have Nancy.
Okay.
But the letter did reportedly contain details about Nancy's home and what she had been wearing when she disappeared.
Okay. That's not nice.
No, but at this point, authorities said, listen, please do not make this note public.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to give airtime to these kidnappers.
Yeah.
So the following day, TMZ this time apparently reported receiving an alleged ransom note demanding millions of dollars in Bitcoin. They gave a cryptocurrency address and a deadline. So on February 5, Harvey Levin, who is the founder of TMZ, said they received another ransom note connected to Nancy's disappearance, which included the line, and I quote, "You will have no way of contacting me."
Wow.
Later that day, he got another note saying Nancy was alive but scared and was aware of the demands being made, while also the note said, "This will be our last communication." Look, Harvey did say that TMZ and the staff had no clue whether or not these notes were genuine, but that's what they received. And the Pima County Sheriff's Department said it too was aware of ransom note reports and that all tips and people calling in, all leads were being forwarded to detectives who were at this point still working with the FBI. But around the same time, a California man was arrested on federal charges after allegedly pretending to be Nancy's abductor and demanding ransom money from the Guthrie family.
Of course.
There's always people who
What fuckwits.
try and cash in on tragedy.
Honestly.
I know. They see an opportunity and they just want to exploit people's fear and misery and hope. It's so awful.
It's terrible. No, I hate that. People are shit.
People can be shit, for sure. But with this guy, authorities said that his scheme was actually unrelated to the other ransom notes that were getting to TMZ. So I don't know if that's better or worse, to be honest.
I don't know.
Then on February 5, Savannah Guthrie, the Today co-anchor, she went public, and alongside her siblings, Annie and Cameron, they decided to go on the news and try to speak directly to whoever was responsible for Nancy's disappearance. And Savannah said the family was, quote, ready to talk, while also explaining that the family needed confirmation that their mother was alive.
Yeah.
Because we all know this, and they know this too. Modern technology can make it possible to manipulate and simulate voices and images. You can't trust anything.
No, exactly.
She said, quote, we want to hear from you and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
She hasn't got her life-saving medication either.
I don't think she's got much with her. And remember, she's 84 and she's got mobility problems and can't walk 50 steps on her own.
Car crashes injure over 1 million of us every year because we're human. For over a decade, Waymo's been building a driver that's safer. Statistically, 10 times safer in the cities we serve. Not because humans aren't enough, but because they're everything.
Based on over a 94% reduction in serious injury or worse crash rates, learn more at waymo.com.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Yeah.
So at this point, the amount of ransom money being demanded was $6 million in Bitcoin, with a deadline of 5 p.m. on February 9. So on February 7, Savannah and her brother and sister released another video where she said, quote, we received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us and we will pay. So I guess the celebrating and having their mother home is valuable.
That sounds weird. It's a weird message. I wonder if that's coded.
Could be. Maybe there's something in that we're not aware of. Because so that we can celebrate with her?
Yeah.
It's a bit strange. And also, this is very valuable to us.
We've got your message and we understand. This is,
and we will pay. I thought as well, that's a weird message. I would be in tears going, we need our mother back. Please bring her home. We'll give you whatever you ask for. You know, that's a weird message.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the investigation into where Nancy was and who had snatched her continued. And on February 10, a person of interest was detained for questioning following a traffic stop in Rio Rico, Arizona. Great name. Where do you live?
I know, Rio Rico.
I live in Rio Rico.
Rio Rico.
Apparently that is about 60 miles south of Tucson. And the Pima County Sheriff's Department and FBI then carried out a search with a warrant on a property and car in the same area. But the searches were called off by February 11, and that person was released without charges after Sheriff Chris Nanos said investigators basically came to the conclusion that this person was not involved in Nancy's disappearance.
Okay.
Then on February 13, authorities began an operation at a house about 2 miles away from Nancy's house, where 2 people were taken for questioning and released the next day. The roads around that property were also closed for around 4 hours, and they were looking into a grey Range Rover in the parking lot of a nearby Culver's restaurant, which I guess is a chain.
Right.
And eventually they did seize and tow that vehicle. investigators at this time also recovered gloves that appeared to match those worn by the person on that doorbell footage.
Right.
But DNA testing on the gloves eventually linked the biological material, so I guess, skin and whatever, to someone who worked at a local restaurant who was not eventually considered part of the investigation.
Right.
So there's a lot of red herrings in this, but they're trying. The police and investigators are following up every lead. Meanwhile, public response continued to escalate as Savannah urged people to spread the word.
Of course. So she had people on her side, really. The fact that she's got a voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the White House even posted information about Nancy's disappearance on its social media and asked people to report anything that might help investigators. This has gone right to the tippy top. And even Donald Trump, President Donald Trump,
That guy,
he called Savannah on February 4 after an interview she'd given on NBC Nightly News. He offered extra federal resources and hoped that Nancy would be returned to them safely. Obviously, she thanked President Trump and law enforcement.
of course.
Then on February 16, Trump weighed in again and threatened capital punishment
Oh,
for the people responsible for the kidnapping.
That's going to really inspire them to get in touch and return the old lady, isn't it? What a knobhead. Shut your face.
I know, shut your gob. But on February 24, the Guthrie family announced a $1 million reward for information that could assist in finding Nancy and recovering Nancy.
Yeah.
And around the same time, the family donated $500,000 to the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children in support of other families dealing with similar situations. And the ransom notes kept on a-coming over the following months, Geordie.
Oh, my God. They never paid anything to these ransomers because you don't.
No.
But they're paying away elsewhere. They're paying here, there, and everywhere.
They're offering $1 million reward. They're
Right.
donating $500,000 to help people who are looking for missing children.
So what's this message saying to the kidnappers, though? If it really is a kidnapping, and I'm feeling very questionable about this whole thing, it feels weird. The whole thing feels weird. What is it? Then they say, we hear you, we understand, we're ready to pay and celebrate.
And then they don't pay.
And then they don't. But then they're paying charities, then they're paying for rewards, potentially paying for rewards, big money, not 6 mil in crypto,
No.
but it shows that they've got money. It shows they're willing to part with it, but they're not paying the ransom. And I do understand you don't want to do that because basically you're just giving money away to a bunch of criminals who've clearly killed your mum and then have got her in a boot somewhere.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, the ransom notes kept coming. And then skip forward to June 22, when news outlets reported that another note was received by the family. Except it wasn't a new note. It was a note that the family got way back in February, claiming that Nancy had died shortly after she was kidnapped.
Oh, they already had that.
Yeah, they got this note in February, but they
knew.
kept quiet. Unlike the earlier ransom notes, this note did not contain any demand for money. And investigators initially considered that this note was not legit. So they did not make it public because they did not want this information potentially compromising any future communications.
But maybe that makes sense as to Savannah's response or the family's response when they said, this is valuable to us so we can celebrate. They wanted her body back.
Maybe I hadn't even thought of that. Well, it gets a little bit confusing because on June 30 this year, obviously, Reuters reported that the FBI had concluded that 2 ransom notes that were reported on in early February, along with another note from TMZ that they got on June 26, were fake. There's a lot of fake ransom notes here. And a former KTV KTV.
Why do they have to put so many letters? Can't they just call it Prime?
I know.
Or Netflix?
Exactly. No. KTV, KTV, whatever.
Oh, God.
This reporter, Brianna Whitney, she described details of the first two notes in a podcast on July 22, just a few weeks ago. And according to Whitney on this podcast, the initial note said, "Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom and once payment is received, will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days." So the note reportedly said Nancy would be released within 12 hours after payment at a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. And they warned that if the second deadline passed, Nancy would be killed. It also said there will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you.
Wow.
I mean, what a mindfuck.
Yes, total.
Then the second note reportedly received on February 6. And Geordie, this is the one which absolutely fucking breaks my heart.
Right.
This one, I'm going to read it out to you. According to Brianna Whitney, who read this out on this podcast.
Yeah.
This ransom note said, quote, "We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now."
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine getting this note?
Oh, man.
It would bury me. I would be fucking crushed. And the note didn't end there. It reportedly ended with an apology. I don't know about you, Geordie, but why send a note like that if it's not real? Do you know what I mean?
I get it. Yes. But you're threatening to kill this woman anyway, but you're so apologetic because she passed away, perished because of an action that you took.
I think if this is a real note, I think these kidnappers realised they fucked it. They're not going to get any money because they've got nothing of value anymore. And they're saying we didn't grasp how sick she was.
Well, the body.
Yes.
People want their bodies, their loved ones' bodies to bury.
They do. Apparently she had a pacemaker. Nancy had a pacemaker, so she wasn't in good health.
And she had pills you mentioned earlier as well, didn't you? That she had to take.
Yes. So if this note is true, that poor lady must have died scared and alone. And my heart just breaks for that. But if it's not real, what the fucking hell is the point of that note? And what's the angle? That's not the end of it, because there were further reports in June of a tip being given to the Mexican volunteer search group called Buscando Corazones, claiming that Nancy was dead and buried in a stream near Nogales, Mexico, which is close to the US-Mexico border. And authorities did take this seriously, and they did conduct searches of the area, but they did not find Nancy's body. As of July and August this year, this investigation is still active.
My God.
And Sheriff Chris Nanos said they've got quite a bit of DNA and video evidence, and they do remain confident that they can crack this case.
Okay. What, find Nancy's body, find the perpetrators?
Well, yes, I hope so. He said they've actually got a strand of hair from Nancy's home that they're doing DNA testing on, and they hope that that could point to a suspect. But for me, it's awful, and I will keep you posted on if there's any breaking news on this case in the coming weeks and months.
Okay, thank you. Bloody hell. Oh my gosh. Real life.
Real life. True crime. True crime. Do you like supernatural?
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at soundedouttogether.org. That's soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Car crashes injure over 1 million of us every year. Because we're human. For over a decade, Waymo's been building a driver that's safer. Statistically, 10 times safer in the cities we serve. Not because humans aren't enough, but because they're everything.
Based on over a 94% reduction in serious injury or worse crash rates. Learn more at waymo.com.
On the topic of ransom notes,
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly dive into another case today.
To be honest, Michelle, it really sounds to me like Anne Widdecombe's horrific murder that happened a couple of months ago, if that, recently, where she was attacked in her home.
Right.
Like an old lady, defenseless lady. Apparently she was just eating her lunch and this guy broke in and hammered her head and killed her.
Oh my God.
That's what it reminds me of. Why go for these poor elderly women, defenseless? It's just so scary. But as of recording this in August, I've already given the game away when I talked before about August 12th, but apparently on the 7th, Michelle, of this month, there was an incident at Nigel Farage's address. There was a lit incendiary device that was left there. He, of course, is saying that it's directly linked to the killing of Anne Widdecombe, and he thinks that the person who they've arrested is somehow linked to this incendiary device. I don't know what's going on. I haven't looked it up. It's just something that crossed my eyes as you were talking. I quickly had a little look at the news and it said something about this. So what the fuck is going on?
That's terrible.
So you were telling me about ransom notes.
Well, ransom notes. We're going to go back to Monday, December 29, 1969, when Muriel Freda McKay, who was a 55-year-old Australian woman living in Wimbledon, London, disappeared from her home while her husband Alec McKay was at work. When Alec returned around 7:45 that night, he found the front door unlocked, the telephone ripped from the wall, because this is back in the days when people had telephones on walls, and there was stuff from Muriel's handbag scattered across the stairs and the house. But the house was empty. So, kudos to him, at 8 o'clock, he reported his wife missing to the police. Now, Muriel and Alec had both been born and raised in Adelaide, South Australia, and they moved to London in 1958 because of Alec's work as a newspaper executive with Rupert Murdoch's News Limited. The couple lived at St Mary's House on Arthur Road in Wimbledon, and their 3 adult children, Jennifer, Diane and Ian, they also lived in the UK. Muriel, well, she was already on high alert after jewellery had been stolen from her house during a burglary 3 months earlier. But even still, on this night, she was alone when someone broke into the house and kidnapped her. What initially looked like a burglary gone wrong quickly became something way more sinister when investigators found weird stuff in the house, including elastoplast, twine, a newspaper, and a bill hook.
What's that?
I actually don't know what a bill hook is. Should I look that up?
Is that something that you put your bills on, like a nail in a bit of wood and you stick them all on there?
It's a traditional cutting tool with a heavy blade and a curved hook at the tip. It's a cross between a knife and an axe.
Ew, I don't like that.
They use it for forestry, farming and hedging work to chop branches.
Sounds like a machete.
It sounds like something your husband would have, to clear thick brush and split small logs of green wood. Well, there you go. Now we know what a bill hook is.
You learn things on this podcast.
Yes. Like I said, the telephone had been ripped out of the wall, but they quickly got someone in to repair that phone, and at 1 a.m., the family got a ransom telephone call from a guy identifying himself as M3, which people speculate stands for Mafia 3. And they demanded £1 million for Muriel's release. And that is a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in 1969. Over the next 40 days, M3 made another 18 ransom phone calls, repeatedly contacting the McKay family and asking to speak with either Alec or their children, Ian and Diane. 3 ransom letters were also sent, and the postmarks on these letters were from Tottenham or Wood Green, and each one repeatedly threatened that Muriel would be killed if the ransom was not paid. Also, there were 5 letters supposedly written by Muriel herself, pleading with her family to pay up.
Really, though?
Well, reportedly they were from Muriel. And there were some pieces of fabric that was supposedly cut from her clothes, which were meant to be evidence that she was still alive. But to me, all that says
That
is
doesn't really...
we cut up her clothes.
Yeah.
I would have no faith that she was alive.
If anything, it's eerie.
It's awful. And then the kidnappers tried twice to get the 1 million ransom. The first attempt was on February 1, 1970, somewhere on the A10, but that got nixed because there were too many cops around.
Yeah.
And then the second attempt was arranged for February 6, and this time the kidnappers specifically requested that Muriel's daughter, Diane, make the delivery because she had been quite closely involved with all the communications with this Mafia 3. But instead, police used 2 disguised officers to make the drop. It wasn't even real money. They used counterfeit banknotes.
Right.
They put them in 2 suitcases and left them at a telephone box in Church Street in Tottenham. At 4 o'clock, M3 called and told the police to move the suitcases to another telephone box in Bethnal Green. And when they did that,
oh my God,
they were told to take the tube to Epping, to go to another telephone box. And when they got to Epping, they were told to take a taxi to a used car lot with a garage in Bishop Stortford, where they were then told to leave the 2 cases next to a minivan that would supposedly be parked there.
This is crazy.
It is. So police, of course, were monitoring all of this. And they saw a blue Volvo with a broken tail light pass the garage a few times before passing again. However, this whole thing got scuppered because a local couple saw those 2 suitcases and went, that looks a bit sus. Because remember, this is the time of bombings and you don't leave stuff like that on the street. So they reported it to local police who grabbed those suitcases and took them to Epping Police Station, completely unaware that they were interfering in a controlled ransom operation. So then investigators looked at that blue Volvo, which was registered to a man at Rook's Farm near Stocking Pelham in Hertfordshire.
That all sounds very idyllic and bucolic.
It does, doesn't it? Rook's Farm.
Rook's Farm in Bishop's... Where was it again?
In Stocking Pelham.
Stocking Pelham.
Stocking Pelham in
sounds
Hertfordshire.
lovely.
It does sound beautiful.
Very nice.
But I don't think you want to go here because when police looked back through other reports, earlier reports from witnesses, they described seeing a Volvo around Arthur Road near the time Muriel disappeared.
Yeah.
While another witness said they'd seen that same Volvo parked in the McKay driveway at around 6 o'clock on the evening of December 29. So this Volvo is dodgy. And then at 8 o'clock in the morning on February 7, police raided Rook's Farm. And Geordie, it's not this beautiful idyllic thing. It's a rundown 11-acre property owned by Arthur Hossein and his German-born wife, Elsa. Arthur was born in Trinidad and was living on the farm with their 2 children and Arthur's younger brother, Nizamuddin Hussain, who had been working there as a labourer since August. And inside the farm, investigators found a notebook containing torn pages with edges that matched the tear patterns found on the letters Muriel had supposedly written, along with twine and a matching roll of tape. While the billhook at the McKay house was identified as belonging to their neighbour.
Oh.
The physical descriptions of Arthur and Nizamuddin matched those of 2 men seen in that Volvo. And Arthur's fingerprints were found on the ransom letters and on a newspaper found at the McKay home. Nizamuddin's voice was also tested against recordings of M3 and was found to be a match.
Oh dear.
But despite extensive searches of Rook's Farm, there was no trace of Muriel. All of that evidence they gathered was enough for the investigation into those 2 brothers. And it turns out Arthur was a tailor in Hackney, and he'd got himself into financial difficulties after buying Rook's Farm in May 1968. And it turns out this whole thing was a case of mistaken identity because the brothers had originally intended to kidnap Anna Murdoch, Rupert Murdoch's then wife.
Right.
So they hatched this plan after they saw Rupert Murdoch being interviewed on television on October 3, 1969, and his recent acquisition of the News of the World paper and the Sun newspaper. But they fucked up because the brothers followed Rupert Murdoch's chauffeured Rolls-Royce to Arthur Road, believing that they had found the Murdoch family home. But the house actually belonged to Muriel and Alec.
Oh.
Because Rupert had gone back to Australia and had loaned his car, his Rolls-Royce, to Alec for a few weeks while they were away.
Oh, no.
Arthur and Nizamuddin were eventually both charged with murder, kidnapping and blackmail, and they went on trial at the Old Bailey on September 14, 1970, and they were convicted of Muriel's kidnapping and murder, even though her body had never been recovered, making this case one of the UK's first murder convictions without a body.
Yeah.
And both brothers got life imprisonment with an additional 25 years for Arthur and 15 years for Nizamuddin.
However, there's more to this, and it was only recently that it came out.
Yeah, exactly. Muriel's remains were never located.
Yeah.
There was speculation that those brothers fed her to the pigs.
Ugh.
But in 2021, Nizamuddin, who had been extradited by this point to Trinidad, reportedly told a Queen's Counsel that Muriel had died of a heart attack shortly after the kidnapping and said her body had been buried at Rook's Farm, and after loads of searches, they turned up nothing. And then in June 2025, just last year, the children of a man who had previously employed Arthur at his tailoring business in Bethnal Green came forward saying their late father had told them that Muriel's remains might have been buried in the yard behind the Bethnal Green shop or under the stairs. But the leaseholders, the current leaseholders of that property, would not allow the family to search the shop. And 56 years after her disappearance on November 10, 2025, the High Court in London formally declared Muriel dead. The family eventually managed to excavate part of the Bethnal Green yard in March this year, 2026, and a bone fragment was found a metre below the ground, and they were super excited, although the forensic testing found that it wasn't a human bone. And Muriel's grandson, Mark Dyer, said the family did still remain hopeful of finding her body and believed that the garden could be her final resting place. And to this day, Muriel's body has still not been found.
That's awful, isn't it? But I do remember the report that came out with, what's his name? Is it the younger one called? The one that got extradited?
Nizamuddin.
He was very upset about it. He felt very guilty about it, apparently. I read an article about it.
Yes, but then he put them on a merry search and gave them bad information and told them wrong locations and didn't want to give any information unless they could bring him back to the UK, all on the government's dime. So I think there was a bit of cat and mouse there, personally.
I see. It's awful, isn't it? What a terrible tale. And the fact that it wasn't even supposed to be her husband must have just felt so guilty for borrowing that fucking Rolls Royce.
Bloody car. I know.
But of course you can't control other people's behaviours. You can't control other people's intent to do bad things.
No. Right. Well, I've got a helicopter outside my yard, so I've got to go.
Has it come to collect you to take you to the top of the mountain to start putting some ice crystals and granita on top to start reforming the glacier?
You never know, but it's getting louder. I feel like this helicopter's going to land on my house.
Dear. That is just a terrible, terrible couple of stories about poor women who, well, I mean, why do they even have to go for these poor women in the first place? Why do it have to be the ladies? Well, I guess they're the weaker sex, the fairer sex, and people want their mums, their grandmas back, of course, and they think they're probably not going to be any trouble. But of course, hearts give out. Pacemakers stop working. People get frightened to death. How sad is that? How awful is that?
I think, too, it's easier to overpower women. I mean, women, of course, will fight back, but they also probably have different strategies for coping in those situations. And it's just awful that you would take anyone against their will for money. It's awful. And I really, really hope in some ways that Nancy Guthrie has passed away. I would hate to think that she was still being captured. And I do hope that poor family do recover her body at some point. But if that ransom note is true, she is buried in nature somewhere and they'll probably never find her.
They'll never find her. And it's the same as the poor McKay family, whatever their names were. I mean, it's very, very sad. And I'm so glad you brought these tragic stories to us today, Michelle. So glad.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
The real scary thing for me about all of this is that people can break into your house and take you. Are we going to sleep tonight? I hope so, because it's not necessarily going to happen to all of us, is it, really? You've got to be Farage or rich or something, I suppose, or related to someone famous in these stories anyway.
You can't focus on that. You just got to live your life. And,
yeah, of course.
You know, bad people do bad things and you're not in control. So live your life, enjoy your loved ones, and have a nice time, because that's all we can do.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate hearing those stories. I had heard the Muriel story before, but it's really interesting to hear all the details because I had forgotten what the outcome was. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Michelle telling us that story as well. And of course, next week, we'll be back again with more of the same, I assume. Who knows what's coming up?
Come back. Tell your friends.
To return.
And until then, of course, there's only 3 things left to say.
Wherever you are,
whatever you do, just
keep
eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping all day long. Eavesdropping. This is a song.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at soundedouttogether.org. That's soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Car crashes injure over 1 million of us every year because we're human. For over a decade, Waymo's been building a driver that's safer. Statistically, 10 times safer in the cities we serve. Not because humans aren't enough, but because they're everything.
Based on over a 94% reduction in serious injury or worse crash rates. Learn more at waymo.com.
Thumbtack presents Tile Trouble. Every single time I use my sink, I make eye contact with the uneven grout on my kitchen backsplash. The crooked corners eye me, and I'm haunted by more tiling questions than I thought possible. What kind of pro can fix a backsplash? Can I replace one cracked tile, or should I replace them all? What if I just use Thumbtack? I can hire top-rated pros, read reviews, and compare prices with a tap. All on the app. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.